Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the FutureDocs Abroad webinar. If you're watching this, you are interested in joining us in one of our locations this summer, and I really hope that you do. And I'm now having technical difficulties with hearing myself over here, so bear with me for 1 second. There we go. All right, I've got lots of things going on over here. I've got me. I've got the thing over there so I can answer your questions and some things written down. So if you see my eyes wandering, I'm not ignoring any of you, I promise. I'm just making sure that I pay attention to all of you. So my name's Ellie. If any of you haven't spoken to me before, seen me before, I work here at the National Leadership Academies and at FutureDocs Abroad. And I hope that we will get to speak to each other more and more as we go on, and hopefully see you if you come with us next summer to either Mexico, Poland, or Vietnam for FutureDocs Abroad. Have a couple of amazing people on the line with us today to answer all of your questions, get everything answered, and talk you through the whole process and what on earth you're going to be doing for 2 weeks if you join us. So first off, we have with us the person that you get at the end of the phone, at the end of an email, at the end of a Facebook message if you've already reached out. Kayla, our admissions lead. Kayla, say hello.
Hi everyone, I'm Kayla. I'm the new admissions lead for FutureDocs Abroad, and I'm super excited to tell you guys about the program and answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Kayla. So she is, as I said, the person that you get at the end of the line all the time, ready to answer anything and everything that you are wondering about. And then we have two magical people with us who are so generous with their time in so many ways, and I'll tell you more about that later. But we have two of our program alumni, Christian and Raelynn, who attended. Well, I'm going to let them tell you. Christian, why don't you go first, and then Raelynn, introduce yourself and where did you go?
Yeah. So Ray and I actually went on the same trip in 2014. We went to the Philippines with FutureDocs Abroad, and it was a really great experience. I am now a junior at the University of South Dakota, and I'm pre-med. I study biology, and then I'll let Ray take over for her intro.
Hi, I'm Raelynn. Hi. Is it there? I'm Raelynn. I'm a student at University of Missouri, Kansas City, live in Missouri. I also attended the Philippines with Christian. It was a really wonderful experience, and I can't wait to tell you all more about it.
Fabulous. Well, I'm not going to hold anyone off any longer from answering some general questions and then from answering your guys' questions. So I'm trying to guess which way that this is going to go on my screen, but I think it's this way, maybe this way. There's a live chat box on one of these sides for you guys to post your questions, and we will, oh, it is that way. I can see myself doing it there now. On this side, there's a live chat box. Please do post your questions and we will answer them. Anything you want to know, general, little questions, big questions, we have everyone to cover all bases here. So post away, and I will be reading those as the others are answering other questions. So I also have some pre-submitted ones here. So if I'm looking down, then I will. This is why. Let's see. So we've already established that both of these guys went to the Philippines in 2014. And I just really want to ask the most important question, I guess, is what on earth do you do there? We tell people, we say, come to FutureDocs Abroad, experience the big three, have all access, experience what only third and fourth year medical school students do here in the US. What's that like? What do you actually get to do? So I'll let you two decide who wants to go first. Just a general overview of kind of what on earth it is that you get to do on a daily basis.
I'll go. So when we went to the Philippines, it was designed like medical school rotations. So in the morning, we would go on one rotation. For example, it'd start an anatomy lab, and we would have a doctor there telling us, dissect this, try to expose this organ, etc. Just showing us exactly what to do while we dissected those cadavers. And then we would go to lunch, and then in the afternoon, we would go to a different rotation. It was a really hands-on experience, and just every aspect that you would see as if you were already in medical school.
Definitely. Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is that the doctors were very communicative. So going between the different wards, I mean, if you had any questions, it wasn't like you had to kind of be quiet in the corner. You could ask them questions and they were willing to answer. So there wasn't a lot of I mean, obviously we're not medical students, so we don't have as much background knowledge going into the program, but that wasn't really an issue. The doctors all kind of really wanted you to learn and really wanted to hear from you. So being in that position was really nice because you never had to feel like you were dumb or you were too inexperienced, because they understood that, you're not a medical student and you don't have as much experience. So they really just wanted to kind of give you the information that you asked for. So, yeah.
Thank you for addressing that, Christian. I think that's one of the big questions that Kayla definitely gets asked a lot is, what experience do I need to have, or what can I do going into this? But absolutely, it's under the impression that you have none and you don't need to have any. If you do, fantastic. But there's no kind of prerequisite for you coming on this program and needing to have sort of a certain level of understanding of medicine or anything like that. So do not worry about that. They're there to help, as Christian said, there to answer any questions and walk you through things. So no need for that. So next question, and there's a second part to this, but when you were sort of heading out, you first knew that you were going, you were on your way to the Philippines, what rotation were you most looking forward to going to, Christian, or being on, with the sort of idea in your head of this is kind of the department I want to go into? What were you most looking forward to when you first arrived?
Yeah. For me personally, I don't think I had one that I was really most looking forward to, because I was still kind of deciding whether or not I wanted to be a doctor. I knew kind of healthcare was where I wanted to go, but I didn't know if I wanted to be maybe a physical therapist, or even nursing was still on my mind. I was really anxious to see surgery, just because I had shadowed a family physician before, but I'd never gotten the chance to be in an operating room. So overall, surgery was really kind of the biggest area that I was looking forward to. And I definitely think I got to experience a lot of that. I mean, we were in several surgical rooms and operating rooms, so we saw everything from, cardiovascular surgery, we saw an open heart surgery, baby delivery, we saw a C-section, we saw ovarian cyst being removed. We saw there was one case where a patient had mandibular cancer, so he had cancer in his jawbone, and so they replaced his jawbone with one of his ribs, and that was a really cool surgery. We also got to see facial osteosarcoma be removed, so we saw them, some orthopedic surgeons removing a big lump out of someone's face because it had grown in their facial bones. So yeah, we got to see plenty of surgery, so definitely got to see what I wanted to. But for me personally, I didn't have a particular department that I was really felt connected to or passionate about going in, but got to see a lot, so that was great.
Awesome. What about you, Ray?
For me, I was really interested in seeing pediatrics, and that actually happened to be a really fulfilling rotation for me. I got a connection with a patient there. I spent the whole day with her family from the beginning, where they were just waiting to see the doctor, reading books to her. She actually had she's nonverbal, so we had to find a new way to communicate while I was reading those books. So that was really an inspirational experience. Spent the whole day when she got to the doctor, so I saw that diagnosis process. But when we were leaving, that was pretty hard to break that bond and say goodbye. And it actually got captured on video footage, so I'll have that experience for the rest of my life to that. But even though I was looking forward to pediatrics, I think every rotation there was something I gained from that, and it made me look forward to continuing my medical career and going on in school and learning in every other field. So much more to medicine, and that's why you go on these programs, is because you can learn so much, and you know that just because you have an idea of what you want to go into, there's so much more out there, and it gives you a good idea of what else is out there and why you put your foot in the door now, so that you have something to look forward to down the road.
Absolutely. Well, I think kind of both of you just really answered my follow-up question, as well as, what were you looking forward to, and then what really was your kind of biggest win and your favorite rotation. I think actually, Christian, was surgery your favorite? What was your favorite? I won't presume that I've answered that question. What was your favorite rotation?
Yeah, I really enjoyed OB, because I thought that was kind of a cool day. We went in and they had said that there was just a bunch of delivery, so we probably weren't going to see anything. And kind of as we were getting ready to leave, 3 women at once came in ready to deliver. So it just kind of showed you the fast pace and how things can change at the drop of a dime. And we got to see everything that all the other groups had talked so highly of OB and how fun it was. And so we were all really looking forward to it. And we were told that we weren't going to see anything, and then we got to see everything, all kind of right at the same time. So it was a really cool experience, just because it was. Yeah, we went from not expecting anything to having the best day. So I would say OB was my favorite. Not that that was necessarily what I wanted to go into now. I don't really know what kind of doctor I want to be still, but it was just a really cool experience that day was. Yeah.
And Ray?
Like I said, spending that day with that patient in pediatrics and her family really had a profound experience on me, or had a profound impact on me. But furthermore, I did spend a day in autopsy, and that had also a lasting impact on me, because there's a patient that came in and she actually had a cancer that they didn't know was prevalent in women of her age, and she had 3 kids. So just the story behind this and what we could learn, the medical impact that the discoveries from somebody passing away was going to have, that also had a really lasting impact on me.
Amazing. Well, I just want to welcome anyone that's just joined us in the last few minutes to our FutureDocs Abroad webinar. We have Kayla, our admissions lead, and 2 of our program alumni, Christian and Raelynn, here to answer your questions. There is a chat box over here for you to post those questions and we can answer them. And I do see a couple so far, so we'll move on to those. So Kayla, this is your bit. This is where I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit more about the details and the nitty-gritty of what on earth is going on this summer. So we have we currently have 2 programs open. So I'll let you take away with, dates and how we're getting there and where are we going and all that good stuff.
Okay. So right now we have a program for high school students in Mexico, and then a program for college students in Vietnam. And our Vietnam program will be from July 19th, 4th, 2015. And then our Mexico program is going to be the 21st of 2018. And so basically how it works with traveling and everything, students' international flights will be reserved as a group along with the flights for the National Leadership Academy team members. All fly together to the location as well as fly back together. But all of the exact travel dates and everything like that, like flight numbers, times, will be provided to you at least 4 months prior to departure. But I know we're working really hard on that to get that to you as soon as possible.
Yes, we absolutely are. So we have Mexico for you high school students, you high school folks that want to be a part of this. We're in Monterrey, which is a fantastic town, city actually. I just went down there not too long ago with Richard Rossi, our founder and executive director, and we were looking at the medical school and all the facilities that you guys are using, and it is just phenomenal. I have never seen a hospital so big, and just so high tech and up to the minute. It's just absolutely stunning. So if you are wanting to be, if you are in high school and wanting to be part of this, that is your opportunity, and it is just, like I said, phenomenal. You're going to have access to absolutely everything there, and it's just going to be wonderful. And then we have the Hue Vietnam program for college students. I need to get used to saying that properly because internally we've been saying that wrongly for a little while. So Hue Vietnam for our college students. And again, one stunning country, one absolutely beautiful place to be visiting, and it's right by the beach, the hospital as well. So I'm just going to throw that in as a little added bonus. I definitely think that's a nice perk. So Kayla, another question for you here, and it's our first one in our questions box. What is the tuition for the program? Because I think you were just a little bit fuzzy there. I just want to ask you to say that bit again. And what does it include?
Okay, so tuition for the program is $6,250, and that's all inclusive. So what that means is that it covers all of your in-country needs. So like your international transportation and airfare, cultural excursions, food, housing accommodations, and the program itself.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, you guys just will need to meet us at a domestic airport. That's right, Kayla, right? And that's really what they just need to arrange outside of that?
Exactly. But it also doesn't include like trip cancellation insurance, passport fees, required vaccinations, airline baggage fees, and souvenirs. So like that.
Perfect. And then all of that kind of information, like, what vaccinations do I need to have and all of that kind of stuff, how do I get my visa and things like that if we're talking about Vietnam, that's things that you'll be able to help with?
Absolutely. That's all information that we'll be giving to you guys as soon as we get it and you're enrolled and everything.
Perfect. Thank you, Kayla. Now, a question for the two of you to take in turns on answering. I'd love to hear from both of you on this. Obviously, you two are both at school now. So Eugene has asked, what did this experience do for you, and what you want to do with your medical career? I guess, how did it help you getting into school, and then how did it help you in deciding what you want to do? I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. I can go first. So I went on the trip the summer after my junior year of high school. So I was beginning to think about where I wanted to go to college and things like that. And so I'm originally from South Dakota. I applied to a couple schools in the Midwest, but the University of South Dakota, the school I'm at now, has a scholarship program where you can apply. And if you get the scholarship, you get pre-admittance into medical school. So what that means is I don't have to take the MCAT. I just have to keep a certain GPA. And so I applied for that scholarship. And my essay that I had to write, the question was, how do you see yourself, or what experience have you had that has impacted you and motivates you to want to work in rural healthcare? And so we were in a hospital in Manila in the Philippines, which is like one of the most populated cities in the world. But a lot of the people who we were seeing had come from rural communities, because the Philippines is a generally small country, so they were able to make those travels. But a lot of the patients that we saw, their conditions had progressed because they didn't seek healthcare sooner. And it really made me think about the fact that if they had had access to healthcare where they lived, they'd be able to, get it treated sooner. So it wouldn't be as nearly as bad as it was when we were seeing them. So while that was great for us, we got to see a lot of really cool and really interesting things. It wasn't great for the patient. So I wrote about that and was lucky enough to get the scholarship. So now I'm in my third year at USD. But I'm not planning on taking the MCAT or anything like that. I'm just going to go straight through. I will go to the University of South Dakota's medical school. And so, yeah, I'm carrying it forward, and the fact that I have kind of my next step already planned out. And so it was extremely helpful, definitely.
Amazing. I'm really sorry. I'll let you go next.
This opportunity has been wonderful. And I can touch on a little bit of the things that like post-secondary school, because I was already enrolled in college. So some of the things that it's helped me get there. So I have to do a lot of volunteer hours, things like that, to build my resume, because I would be applying to actually physician's assistant school for myself, as I'm not trying to get into med school. But even if you're getting in med school, you have to do some volunteer hours. So for my volunteer hours, I applied to this position, and they asked me, what did I do on my internship? And because of the hands-on experience that I had, I was able to get a little bit of a different position at the hospital than most volunteers get. Usually you're just in the greeting of patients, and I actually got to do some hands-on patient care in the ICU. And so that was really an awesome opportunity. Additionally, just some of my classes I've taken, like I've taken diversity in healthcare. So having gone abroad, I'm able to talk about some of the experiences over there, and that's always a real fun story to share. Also shadowing. So this helps me get a lot of shadowing opportunities because I've been there. I've seen the things that you're going to see in the hospitals when you shadow, so they know you're not going to pass out in their OR. You've already seen it. So it's really easy to get those shadowing opportunities where you're not competing with students that haven't seen that, because you've already seen that, so you've got an edge up on that competition. So a lot of other opportunities to kind of build that resume for the MCAT if you are planning to take it, or the requirements for the physician's assistant school.
Perfect. I didn't realize that you were applying to physicians. I'm trying to say assistant school. I don't know why I can't say that, but apparently I can't. That's great news. I didn't know that you were doing that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program.
Very cool. Okay, so I'm just going to remind everyone again, there's a little question box here, and you can post them and we will answer them. In fact, I'm going to answer Becky's question right now. Kayla, question for you from Becky. Is there a way to get a scholarship for this program?
Unfortunately, we don't have any scholarships available at this time, but a lot of our program alumni have been very successful at finding creative ways to fund the program. So that's definitely something that you can reach out to me about, because I'd love to speak to you about some of the ways that they've done this, and then even get you set up one-on-one with one of those program alumni students.
Ray and Christian, did either of you two do any fundraising for the trip at all? I can never remember who did.
I did have a GoFundMe page, and I was able to raise a little bit of money, but I paid for the majority of it myself.
I did not do any fundraising. Actually, it was a graduation present that I was very, very thankful for. But we did know a lot of people on the trip that fundraised, and so they were able to share their experiences with us. So we're able to talk about that too.
Perfect. Yeah, well, we definitely, as these guys said, there's definitely lots of people that did have that experience, and we do have other program alumni that are generous with their time as well as Christian and Ray, who can answer those questions. So for anyone that doesn't want to answer a question now, or might want to speak one-on-one with Christian or Raelynn or any of our other alumni that we have available to you, you absolutely can do that. They're so generous, busy bees in college, but still set aside some time to help you guys and anyone who's interested in coming on the program to speak with them. So if you would like to do that, you can get in touch with Kayla, either email, message on Facebook, phone, text, I believe, and we will set up a call for you with Christian or Raelynn or someone else if these guys are too scary for you, and you can talk about directly with them about their experience and also what's going on in Mexico and Vietnam this year as well. I know this is something that I would really want to know, but I don't know if you get asked it a lot. Kayla and you two could probably speak to it as well. I know you can. What goes on during the weekends? What goes on during the week? What goes on during the weekends? How much time do you spend, in the hospital during the week, and then what do you do after?
So we don't really have a final schedule yet, but generally speaking, you'll be starting the rotations early in the morning for a few hours, and then you'll go on a lunch and then go back to the rotations 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So that's 10 days total, 8 hours a day, 80 hours of hands-on, scrubbed up in rotations, watching, assisting, and shadowing the physicians and just really absorbing their knowledge. And then on the weekends, I know you'll be doing stuff like volunteering at the clinics and going to some of the national parks on the locations. But like I said, we don't have anything set in stone for that yet, but once it gets closer, I'm sure I'll be able to give you more details on it.
So 80 hours a week for 2 weeks, 8 hours a day, full days, scrubbed up in the hospital or in rotations or wherever you may be in the whatever, and then fun things at the weekends. What did you do? What did you guys get up to? What was your little activities and things?
So I know that we had, like she had said, you work in the clinic. So we did do one day, we did a mobile medical clinic where we went out into a community and we gave healthcare to the people there, which was really nice. There was also doctors there who were helping. So you got more shadowing experience, but you also get to do things like taking vitals and teaching people how to brush their teeth and stuff like that, which was a really fun day. We also volunteered at a orphanage, which was one of my favorite days. And I think Ray had a really good time there too. It was really fun. And we got to know the kids, and they made us lunch after we hung out with them all day, and they sang us some songs because they had a band, and so that was a really cool experience. But we also did a lot of cultural stuff around the city. So we had like a guided tour. We had a tour guide, and he was really funny. He showed us kind of all of the things that we needed to see and learned a lot about the culture and the history of the Philippines. We did a couple other things. I'm sure Ray remembers some of them. She could talk about those.
Yeah, so many people actually don't know that the Philippines was a place that one of the wars have taken place in. So we did a lot of the tours of the American cemeteries. So that was really cool to go see. So we took a lot of pictures there, and it really it was amazing to see all the gravestones of American soldiers that I never would have known existed had we not gone over there, and then just to be able to see that in firsthand, not just learn about it in a history book. So that aspect, you're not just learning medicine, you're learning the history. We got to ride around in one of the World War Jeeps. So that was really cool. So that's actually their main mode of mass transportation over there. So is those Jeeps. And we got to ride in one. That was really fun. We just did lots of cool cultural things. We got to see the presidential palace one day. And then on the days where you don't go places, like during the week, you've had a really long day, like you said, 8 hours at the hospital. There's like hotel rooms where the chaperones stay, where you guys can all come hang out outside of your dorm rooms. And a lot of times we just played cards and hung out. The best Wi-Fi was in the lobby of the hotel. So you could find 20 kids down there hanging out, texting our parents, texting our friends from home, just chilling, getting to know each other. So it really was that bonding experience. Like, yes, this is about the medicine 100%, but you're there 8 hours at the same time. We got to know each other. We had a really fun experience outside of the medicine.
That's Great to hear, and I'm going to pick up on that in just a second and ask Kayla a question. Eugene had asked, what did we get to do, or what did you get to do at the mobile clinic? I think, Christian, that may have come in after you or before you started explaining it, but you were saying, like, you know, like vitals and like the basic stuff, and getting to do, you know, for the community, right? So like teeth brushing and things like that, just like general health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like public health education stuff. In addition, because I mean, there's a lot of people that come to these clinics because they don't happen all that often, and so they'll come, and while they're waiting, you know, you teach them just basic public health messages and the basics of taking care of your own body while you wait to see a physician. And then so you kind of rotate through those stations, and you'll get to see kind of all of it at that day. So definitely, yeah.
Perfect.
To add on to that, one thing that people don't always understand, that these mobile clinics, that's their pharmacy. So that's where they go to get their medication and their vaccines. That you don't go to your healthcare provider, you know, monthly or biannually. They go to these mobile clinics, and that's what they rely on to get their dewormer or this, that, and the other. That they really need that to come in there and get their annual medication that they're not going to get otherwise. So it's fun to be a part of that, and they really appreciated us being there.
Definitely.
That's great. That's really, I didn't know that. That's very cool. Kayla, what I was going to ask you is, so we have high school students going to Mexico, we have college students going to Vietnam, and then Ray was just talking about being in dorm rooms, being in hotels. Where are each group staying? Do we know that yet? Have we confirmed that? What's the kind of setup we're expecting for attendees?
So we're still working out like the exact details with what hotel and everything for Vietnam, but I know for Mexico, students will be staying in the dorm rooms at Tec de Monterrey. And I've heard that they're very modern, they're really nice. They have a fridge, they can fit like 2 to 4 students in each dorm room. So it's like a tiny little apartment. That's what it sounds like to me.
It is. I went down there. I was amazed. I've been in a few dorm rooms myself in the States, more in the UK, if you didn't already guess. But it's fantastic. It's like a joint. So you go in, there's like a joint entryway, sort of kitchen and dining space. And then there's 2 separate rooms Kayla, it's a 1-tour room, or is that right? I don't know. Okay. But there's 2 separate rooms, and then when you really check it out and you get to see all the facilities and stuff that they have there, you guys will not be bored. There are common areas. There is a gym. There is a cinema. There is laundry facilities. It's really top notch and brand new. And as I said, I was there just a little while ago, and I don't think I've ever seen dorms that nice. So you will be treated, and I'm sure you'll be watching a few movies while you're there as well. Really great big open common areas, and Wi-Fi, I believe, in the whole building. So if not just the lobbies, so you guys will be able to chat and connect with people at home and with each other, and just share the experience together. You see if there are any other questions coming in. I think we've got all of those. A little reminder to post those there. Need to keep these guys busy with questions. Kayla, is there anything that you've really been asked a lot of recently that you think would be good to hear from Ray and Christian?
Probably just the language barriers, and if that was an issue for you guys, because I worry about that a little bit. And I know that so far we haven't really had any issues. All the doctors and hospital staff do speak to students in English, but if you guys could just maybe elaborate a little bit on that some more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said earlier, the doctors were really communicative, and there wasn't really a language barrier with them. The only place you really saw the language barrier was with the patients, but the doctors really wanted you to have that experience of talking with them and understanding their conditions or their stories. So a lot of times if the patients had something to say that the doctor thought was valuable, he would explain what they were telling him as he was having a conversation with them. They were always able to translate, and then you could ask questions directly to the patient too, and the doctor would relay the messages. So the only times that there really ever was a language barrier is with the people who were receiving the treatment, but the doctors were really willing to translate for you at all times.
And I think that's true of everyone. I mean, having been in Mexico, I can tell you that their English is phenomenal, and they will most definitely be able to work that all out with you and be able to share with you. But something that you guys should definitely know is, you know, these medical schools, you are they're honored guests. They really are so happy to have you. They want to teach you. They want you to be there. They want you to learn and get the most out of this that you possibly can. They're really there to set you up for success. They really are. And they just want you to have, as I said, the most out of this experience that you possibly can. So don't be afraid to jump in. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that's probably a big tip that you guys would give. In fact, let me ask you exactly that. What would be your sort of biggest piece of advice to someone who's thinking of going on this program, apart from go?
I would say, obviously, go. Jump in, head first. Don't question things. I know it's really easy to question things and kind of talk yourself out of it, but I'd never been out of the country before. It was my first time. It was the first time for any of my family, actually, to be out of the country. I was the first one to go. And it was really an awesome experience, and it's opened up a lot of doors for me throughout my entire life, not just in my medical career. And there's nothing I would change about it. I think as I was there, the only thing different I would do is write a little bit more in my journals about the reflections of my experiences, because there's little things, details here and there I'm forgetting. I'm still in contact with a lot of people from the trip, and Christian and I were talking recently when we were together about, do you remember this? And we couldn't think of the name of something, and those details were fading a little bit. And so we just really enjoyed our experience. But as we were there, you get so much out of it that you can't remember everything. So it's so wonderful that you just have to write it all down, that you get so much out of it.
Yeah. The only thing I would add to that is don't be afraid to ask questions. I think a lot of people kind of go in and think like, oh, I'm just a high school student. I don't have a lot of experience, and they get kind of timid. But the more you ask questions, the more it really shows that you're there and you want to learn. And I know I kind of was nervous at first, but I started asking questions more and more. And you connect with the doctors that way too. They see that you're reaching out and you want to know more, so they're more apt to kind of talk to you. I kind of had a connection with one of the doctors, and he was also one of our anatomy teachers, so he was constant kind of throughout. And so he and I kind of had a lot more conversation outside of just the context of what we were learning, just because he saw that like I wanted to learn. And so he started up conversation with me outside of our learning experience too. And that was really cool. So I would say just you're there, and you're only there for 2 or 3 weeks. So use that opportunity to form relationships, and also outside of the hospital too. I mean, like Ray was just saying, we were together a couple months ago, and we had this experience 3 years ago. So we have formed bonds that have lasted a long time, not just with each other, but with other people too. So just really use this opportunity not only to learn a lot, but to form relationships with other people and make colleagues that you'll have for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Fantastic advice. And it's so great for us as well for me, I don't know about anyone else, to hear that you guys are still such good friends, and that other people are as well that we're still in touch with. So that's definitely another huge bonus, I think, of being on the trip and sharing like in this journey together. There's a couple questions that are just come in, and I am going to ask them, but I just want to ask you two something first. Obviously, you went to the Philippines when you went to FutureDocs Abroad program when you were in high school, and you wouldn't ever experience the college program for the first time anymore. But do you think that this would be a valuable program for a college student to go? I'm an undergrad student to go on.
I was unique, actually, in the fact that I was on my way to college. So I was one of the older students. There was just me and one other person, actually. So it was actually very, very, very valuable. As I talked earlier, if the people that are just joining this didn't get to see, but it was helpful in building that resume and getting some of the college opportunities. And like I talked about, those college classes like diversity in healthcare, or as we've learned about the different healthcare systems across the globe rather than just here in America, they're very, very, very different. So it's very opportunistic. And there's more med schools than just in America. We know that, and you can get into med school abroad, and that's an option. So it's really a wonderful opportunity if you are in college.
Yeah, I would say the only reason, I don't see any reason why it would make a difference. I mean, you may have already taken an anatomy course where you've gotten hands-on gross anatomy experience, but not nearly in college. That's an opportunity that's available to you, but it's not nearly as hands-on, having taken one myself. I mean, we were actually doing a lot of most of the dissecting when we were in the Philippines, but in my college anatomy class, it was mostly just identifying. All the dissection had already been done. So I would say it's still just as valuable of an experience in college as it is in high school.
Perfect. And just to then add on to that a bit more, talking about doing the dissection, I'm assuming Enrico has joined us recently and is asking about sort of the hands-on activities. So we talk about at FutureDocs Abroad, we talk about the big three, being observing surgery, and not just from an observation deck, but being in the surgical suite and with the surgeon. We talk about gross anatomy and working on cadavers, and doing all of those things, and then shadowing physicians and actually being able to see them in their rounds, in their day-to-day life, as they go through rotations. So would you two say that's true? Did you get to do those three things? Or are we telling the truth?
Yeah, absolutely. With the gross anatomy in particular, you do all the dissecting. You have a doctor there who will kind of jump in and like move some things around so you can see everything, but you're holding a scalpel and you're doing the dissection. I mean, I held a saw and sawed off the top of someone's skull so that we could see the brain, and like you're doing all of those things yourself. The doctor's there to kind of facilitate and point out what he wants you to see, but as for the actual dirty work, it's all you. And then with the surgery, we already kind of talked about that a little bit, but yeah, we get to see at virtually every department, and you get to see the surgeries. It just depends on what they have that day, but we get to see open heart surgery, cancer removal, C-sections, all of that. So that was really great. And then for the rounds, again, yeah, you're there real time. You do the emergency room, you do the orthopedic unit, you do all of the different units, and you get to go around from patient to patient. And the doctor explains, this is what this patient has going on. This is our treatment. This is why we're doing it. And then you can even have interaction with the patient. So definitely you get all those three experiences kind of wrapped up in a really great experience. So did I miss anything, Ray?
No, just to highlight on a little bit of what you said. In surgery, the closest I've ever been here is behind the anesthesiologist, but there we were at the front of the table, and they would sometimes hand us things like some of the inner ear bones. Obviously, if we were gloved up, they would hand us that. And what's the chance that you're going to get to see that, in how many years? And it just solidifies why you're doing what you're doing, why you're going to stay up late at night studying. I know Christian and I are in the middle of finals right now, and thinking back on these experiences, it's why we're doing what we're doing. The experiences were second to none, and shadowing is more than just shadowing, because they really take the time to sit there and explain to you. And those 80 hours are a lot of hours. You think about one day shadowing here in America, shadowing a doctor, you don't get that much out of it. But when you shadow those 2 weeks, you really see a lot of stuff. There's so many things that some people probably never get to see their entire lives that you get to see then. And honestly, you might not even see it if you do go into the healthcare career, because it might not be something you rotated on, or it might not be in the field you went in, but you did get to see it there on your internship. So a phenomenal experience in the hands-on aspect.
Fabulous, thank you, you two. And now just a quick question so we weren't lying, I just want to say it and put it out there, we're not lying, you do get to do all of those things, and you will too. And again, 80 hours is what we go for for over 2 weeks, 8 hours a day, and you will be doing all of those things. Kayla, quick question here from just talking about the dorms. So that we were referring to Mexico. When I was talking about the dorms, I was speaking about Mexico. So that's for our high school students program. Vietnam, we're going to be in a hotel. Is that correct?
Yes, we'll be in a nearby hotel in Hue, and they'll be just as nice and very safe and modern. So
we normally
can always give you
sort of a Western chain, is that right, or something matching, sort of something that you guys would be expecting? Perfect. Yeah, we will let you know as soon as we know. We're finalizing all of those details, but very westernized hotel, something very equivalent, good quality, with all the amenities, I can't say that word, that you guys would need, and Wi-Fi so that you can call back home and things like that. You stay connected and in touch and everything like that. I have to say, I'm just going to bring up, I think it's Sierra, and I think this is so great, talking about you, Ray, saying about writing a diary, a journal, and remembering everything. She told us a few weeks ago that every night she would call her mum, just to speak quickly sort of about the day, and just say, just share with her what she'd been doing and what had been going on and what she'd seen. And as a gift, her mum wrote all of those things down for her after she got off the phone with her every night, and then gave her the book when she got back. So I think that's a really cool thing. I know that you can't really ask your parents to do that for you, but I think that's a really cool souvenir to have. And I know Sierra's very thankful she has it. And you guys just saying that, I think that's a really good tip to give you all, even if you're just writing down like your 3 wins for the day or something. I think that's a great thing to do. I'm going to go ahead. I don't think we have any more questions, so I'm going to wrap us up right now. I'd just like to say a huge thank you to Ray and Christian for being so generous, as always, with your time. Again, as a reminder to anyone watching, you are absolutely able to speak with these two one-on-one. If you want to post something in the comment section below after the fact, after the fact when this is done being live, or in the live section now, and I will grab those and send them to Kayla for her to set up a call with you. Give us a call, send us an email, send us a text, message us on Facebook, some way of getting in contact with us, and we will set up a time for you to talk to these incredible people about FutureDocs Abroad if you would so like. And Kayla, are you available now, or you're not available anymore? After this, you're done for today, you're back tomorrow, is that right?
Yes, I am done for the day, but I can always respond to you guys as soon as possible in the morning.
Perfect. Yes. So Kayla will be back with you in the morning if you have any questions directly for her. And yeah, it's been phenomenal. Thank you again, you two. Oh, I do have to throw one thing in. If you are thinking, you know, I would really like to be, I love medicine, but I kind of love animals, not humans so much. Animals are my favorite type of people. Well, this year, for the first time, we're launching a program for students who want to be veterinarians. And that is going to be in Costa Rica, and that's going to be in September of 2018. It's getting late and I'm hungry, apparently. So if you are that person that's thinking, you know what, I'd love to go on FutureDocs Abroad, but I love animals more than people, then get in touch with Kayla and she can give you all of the information about that program for future vets. Anything you guys like to add to close, or can I let you go about your evenings? Perfect. Well, thank you so much, guys. Oh, Kayla, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think I've said everything that I wanted to say, but if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, you can always email me, call me, text, or go on the live chats too.
Perfect. Well, thank you very, very much, Christian and Ray, as always, for being awesome. And hopefully you guys will speak to them soon. So good night, everyone. Thank you very much. And I will speak to you 3 tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.